Okay, Jane, you talked about how you brought the slips home and you laid them out and kind of noticed this transition. Could you explain more of that?
Sure. So in 2014, when I did come home, I put them away. I didn't really try to do anything with them. It just didn't feel right. So from there in 2016, I got them back out and started assembling them based on primarily light. And so I would put all the morning pieces together, evening pieces together, midday pieces together, and made some kind of sense out of that color light. You know, I wanted it to express what I thought I would see, even though it was maybe several days, like 5 days or 4 days of light, which, like, this one is evening and this is morning light. And I mounted them, and at a certain point, that stopped again because I wasn't sure where I was going to go with them. So when COVID hit, I got that work back out because I had plenty of time to work. I was also doing my plein air work as well as the strip work. But I had continued to make the strips. One of the principles that I try to practice is to not waste anything. So when I had leftover paint or gummy paint, I would put it on a piece of paper, and I just kept collecting it. So I was collecting the strips in and of themselves. So when I got them out, I felt more free to, like, cut them up and assemble them in different ways, like not having it pertain to light. And some of them did represent a body of work, like my Tobamori series, and some of them were about my forest pieces and my wood pieces. So that kind of led some of the assembling pieces that I did. So I did a ton of them before I began painting them, because at some point I thought, you know, I really want to paint from these because they would just get really close to what I wanted to see. They wouldn't ever be like a complete thing in and of themselves because I could, like, visually think past them a little bit. So I started painting on paper, like taking them. I looked at the assembled pieces that I put together and saw them more as drawings in a way. So they were like an idea. And then I started figuring out scale. I mean, there's a lot of failure in this, and you almost have to do that in order to get a success. And of course, it's my idea of what failing is. You know, some people, like my husband, would come in and say, "Oh, I really like that one." I'd say, "No, that one's not good."
And what would you deem as a fail or not good?
Oh, when it didn't have a complete voice, like it didn't come together and make a sound, or it didn't visually add up. Like even though there are several rectangles and squares within a piece, every one of them is important. You can't take one out, the whole thing will fall apart. So it has to be a complete whole for me in that way.